Welcome to the MovyMart. Netflix is a source of tons of amazing true crime content, and there are some enthralling shows that focus on serial killers, both real and fictional. Serial killer TV shows are one of the most binge-able types of shows there are, so it's no surprise that there are always new titles to make up the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix, with many fascinating options in the genre. Today I am going to rank the top 10 best serial killer shows on Netflix. We hope that this selection will be useful, and everyone will find something new to watch. So let's not waste any time and begin. Number 10. The Ripper. One of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix is The Ripper, which covers the whining case of the Yorkshire Ripper in Britain, whose crimes are highly reminiscent of the infamous Jack the Ripper. Through the use of never-before-seen footage and a massive number of police interviews, The Ripper educates the audience on the serial killer case piece by piece, leaving not a crumb of information behind. The docuseries covers everything about the Yorkshire Ripper case and its similarities to Jack the Ripper in exhaustive detail, including exactly how much manpower went into solving one of the most iconic cases in UK history. That being said, the four-part docuseries does move at an alarming pace, and some viewers can get lost along the way because of this and the sheer amount of information that's being presented. Number 9. Memories of a Murder: The Nielsen Tapes. Memories of a Murder: The Nielsen Tapes is one of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix right now, and covers the infamous case of Scottish serial murderer Dennis Nilsen. Nilsen is a particularly gruesome figure, as he's responsible for killing over 12 men and boys, and attempting 7 other murders. In addition to this, he was also a necrophile, who would perform a bizarre ritual, and then dispose of his victims' remains by burning them or flushing them down the toilet. The Nielsen Tapes is unique in that it combines interviews, archive footage, and accounts from people who actually knew Nilsen to paint an accurate picture of the serial killer's psychology. Number 8. The Sons of Sam: My Descent into Darkness. Anyone familiar with the David Berkowitz case knows that he called himself the Son of Sam, confessing after capture to being a member of a satanic cult and calling the murders rituals. He pled guilty to at least 8 shootings and killing 6 people in New York, qualifying him for serial killer status. In one of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix, movie star Paul Giamatti narrates as the voice of Maury Terry, a journalist who worked on the case for 40 years. But there's an interesting angle to the Sons of Sam. Terry was convinced that Berkowitz did not act alone. This series, dubbed one of the best films and TV shows based on the Son of Sam murders, explores his theories. Number 7. The End of the World. This British dark comedy drama takes a comedic look at the idea of serial killers, offering up a one-of-a-kind perspective, wholly unique from other true crime series. At the center of one of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix is James, a 17-year-old high schooler who believes that he is a psychopath. Alyssa, meanwhile, is drawn to him in hopes that he can help provide a meaningful escape from her horrid home life. Based on a series of mini-comics of the same name by Charles Forsman, James kills animals, mostly, but he has humans on his radar and has decided that Alyssa might be a suitable victim. The End of the World features characters that don't really have many redeeming qualities, but its storyline exceeded that of Forsman's comic and ended on its own terms, rather than being cancelled. Number 6. Don't K with Cats: Hunting an Internet Killer. Another docuseries, and one of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix, Don't K with Cats is based on Luca Magnotta, a young man in Montreal who murdered Chinese international student Jim Line and was eventually caught. He wasn't technically a serial killer, but those who hunted him were convinced that he was about to become one. Plus, he did harm and kill animals. The docuseries focuses on internet sleuths, who came across videos of Magnota harming and killing cats. After seeing the content and being horrified by it, a group of them decided to go on their own investigation to uncover the identity of the man in the videos for fear that his violence would escalate to humans. Number 5. Night Stalker: The Hunt for a Serial Killer. There's often talk about how serial killers can come across as charming, even attractive, to those who don't know what darkness is bubbling beneath the surface. But in the case of Richard Ramirez, chronicled in Night Stalker: The Hunt for a Serial Killer, his chiseled looks led to the man receiving fan letters and even getting married while incarcerated. This is despite the fact that he admitted to or was suspected of committing several murders of men, women, the elderly, and even possibly a child. This gripping true crime docuseries is one of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix. Tells the story from the perspective of law enforcement officers on the case and how their chase to identify and catch him affected their lives. While Night Stalker: The Hunt for a Serial Killer does leave out some details, it's a popular watch for fans of the true crime genre. Number 4. Catching Killers. Within the true crime genre, Catching Killers focuses on the other end of the spectrum, the people who work tirelessly to capture serial killers. This includes police as they investigate the cases, often always finding themselves one step behind the killers, as well as the prosecutors charged with bringing them to justice once captured. One of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix is such because of its unique take on the true crime genre. Each episode of the 2 seasons to date focuses on a different serial killer, including some notorious names like Eileen Wuornos, the Happy Face Killer, BTK, and the Toronto Village Killer. Catching Killers is a different type of true crime show, and it's a great option to learn about the work that goes on behind the scenes and how such cases impact the personal lives of those working endless hours to catch the bad guys. Number 3. Conversations with a Killer: The Ted Bundy Tapes. The series that started the Conversations with a Killer idea took on one of the most infamous killers of all time. Centered around real-life serial killer Ted Bundy, Conversations with a Killer: The Ted Bundy Tapes is a documentary that reveals hours of fascinating interview footage with Bundy, along with interviews with his family and friends, law enforcement, and surviving victims. One of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix puts one of the most infamous murderers of all time under a microscope. It's just 4 episodes, but the Netflix true crime docuseries presents a full picture of Bundy's life, crimes, arrests, escape, death, and everything in between. Even for those who believe they already know everything, there is to know about one of the most prolific killers in modern history. There are some interesting reveals, especially considering how widely Bundy has been documented over the years. Number 2. Mindhunter. An interesting combination of fiction and true crime, and one of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix. What made Mindhunter fascinating during its run was that the characters from the show were actors, playing real-life serial killers. In fact, some of the dialogue from the on-screen confrontations was taken from interviews conducted by the real people on whom the characters of Holden and Tench are based. Just one of many interesting behind-the-scenes facts about Mindhunter. The casting was so brilliant that fans had a tough time separating the fact that they weren't actually seeing the real Charles Manson or Edmund Kemper on screen. Tench, with the help of Douglas, is credited with studying the behavior and thought processes of repeat killers, and eventually coining the term serial killer. Unfortunately, the series ends on a cliffhanger and was never renewed for a 3rd season for unspecified reasons. Number 1. Monster: The Jeffrey Dahmer Story. The best of the best serial killer TV shows on Netflix is Ryan Murphy's Monster: The Jeffrey Dahmer Story. Starring Evan Peters as the well-known cannibal and serial murderer, Monster follows Dahmer's crimes in a non-linear fashion, depicting the horrifying murders in excruciating detail. The show is not an easy watch, to say the least, as it's a highly graphic program that recounts terrifying and heinous acts of violence. In addition, the Ryan Murphy TV show explores social issues, like how white privilege affected the case, and if police had taken the words of his neighbors seriously, it could have saved several of his victims. Between its stellar cast and intriguing storyline, Monster: The Jeffrey Dahmer Story is easily the best serial killer TV show on Netflix, even winning Evan Peters a Golden Globe for his portrayal of Dahmer. Well, this is it. Share your impressions in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you, bye.